presentation skills. I'm sure you're coming up, James, Gordon, Manny, have a seat. You are a part of this, that's it. Before we get into introducing those guys, I want to give you guys just a little bit of insight about who I am, why I've been asked to be up here as far as moderating this specific panel. Like Manny said, my name is Bryce Prescott, and quite simply, I'm an expert at helping you get there faster. I'm a performance and a mindset coach, and I'm the former host of Rules of Success, a podcast that had a 3-year run, 182 episodes, and my entire mantra has been about helping people to balance their lives in a way that includes health and fitness, spirituality, business, and of course, your personal relationships. A key part of what has allowed me to achieve some of the results that I've been able to achieve has been exactly what we're going to be talking about today, which is presenting yourself from the stage, outside of the stage, all of the different things that are involved in creating a persona for yourself that inspires confidence. And so, I'm excited to lead this group and to talk about this. You guys know these faces here. We have Cherie Alexander, James Garrett, Gordon Jenkins, and of course, incomparable Theo. And I'm going to give them a chance to give their own introductions here because you guys have kind of seen in specific to this discussion, there's specific parts of their skill sets that I'd like them to highlight before we get into some questions about presentation skills and what's best to focus on. So go ahead, Ben. Little 30 to 60 seconds.
Okay, so you guys know me.
So you guys know this microphone doesn't work.
There it is, okay. Hi, you guys. So I'm Cherie Alexander. My business is Observe, Connect, Influence. I help entrepreneurs and leaders be more convincing and persuasive, basically making sure people give a shit about what you have to say. Everything that I do is based off of the research that I've done from interviewing CIA operatives, hostage negotiators. You heard that little spiel before. And predominantly I'm known for bringing the dark arts of influence into the light. I've been a professional speaker. It's how I've been paying the bills for a number of years. Also a coach, have a mastermind, have online courses, got the ebooks, like, you know, the whole package is there. Yeah, so that's a little bit rundown of me in the business.
So I'm James Garrett. I run a company called Brain by Design. I run a 12-week course as well on the science of productivity, habits, and happiness. And yeah, you guys heard from me earlier, so my real passion is getting the science. We've had an explosion in brain and behavioral science, and most of that gets stuck in scientific journals. Stuff that's clearly relevant, incredibly powerful, and just really useful, right? In terms of what we're all trying to do. So I'm trying to get that science out of the labs and into people's lives.
Hopefully you haven't forgotten who I was. If you have, that's been a long journey for nothing. I suppose one of the things about me, I'm the visible guy. Very few people call me Gordon Jenkins. I get mail to the visible guy, I get phone calls to the visible guy. I am the visible guy. And I suppose where I look at what I do is, I don't look, a lot of coaches that I network with look at inside businesses and people. I look on the outside. Mine's all about client perception, what clients think of clients. All the time, I always try to bring that back in. So for what I do a lot of collaboration with lots of different coaches who do different skill sets. Think about it as a row of dominoes. I'm somewhere in the middle, and either bring people in before me or after me. But I'm very clear on that nature. It's about client perception and do stuff like that, and you hear the rest of it.
And I want to thank you for that.
My name is Manny Wolf. I am an expert in communication training, public speaking training, and I approach it a little differently than most people I've seen, wherein my focus can be summed up as connection trumps technique every time. My goal with the people that I coach, the people that I teach, is that you look like you were beamed down on the stage to deliver that message and then disappear. I don't want any sort of technique showing through. I don't want any rigidity. We're after fluidity. We're after a kind of a level where I like to joke that Toastmasters will teach you how to count your ums and uhs, right? We all know that. I want you to be so good, people don't even notice the ums and the uhs. So I'm sort of like Lawrence Fishburne in The Matrix, really, teaching Neo how to be so good he doesn't have to worry about dodging bullets.
Well, I'm going to choose the red pill, just in case.
Yeah.
So, before we get into some questions, I want to set the context here. So thank you guys for introducing yourselves. This is going to be an interactive experience for everybody here. It would seem that each person that is here at least has an interest in furthering their own ability to speak and be paid for it in their own career. Is that fair? Can we close on it? Okay. So with that, I don't want this to be like just this rigid sort of, now this is the next question, please answer it, chair number 3. Like, this is going to be a dynamic conversation. It's going to be something where if you choose not to participate, you're over hearing a bunch of friends talk about stuff that's important to them. If you choose to participate, hopefully you get some value. So, in preparation for this, I wanted to kind of break down the specifics of what exactly we're going to talk about. So, with presentation skills, it would seem that there is basically a hierarchical list that would include what's most important down to even the most menial things that are part of it. So I wanted to throw that out to the wolves to start here and ask you guys both individually and collectively, what is that for you? What is the most important presentation skill that exists? What are the ones that are still as important but yet not top of the list? And I guess I'll add this in. How have you specifically been able to develop that in your business? So whoever wants to go first, go first.
Want me to just since I got
Can
I do it? So again, I argue the most important is connection. If you have the ability to connect with who you're speaking to, it renders methodologies and techniques somewhat irrelevant. So I teach it from about an 80% principle standpoint, about 20% techniques. You do need some techniques. You need to know how to move across the stage, how to root for important. We all know this, like stand still and look at one person for the important stuff. Deliver that message like an exclamation point. That would be technique based. But I will tell you, a message delivered without heart, emotion, and passion won't stick. A message delivered with those things can be a weak-ass message that will still stick.
I think it's a really good question because hopefully we're going to get 5 completely different views. We're going to get 5 fast facts. For me, it's innovation. And I give you an idea that everyone knows about the elevator pitch. And you go and meet someone in a meetup group and you go, "Hi, I'm Gordon Jenkins." And my first question to them, because they're ready for their elevator pitch, is, how do you make yourself visible to your clients? I want to do the elevator pitch. So it's about that innovation. It's not about having one way. You've got to be continuing thinking about every single client, every single person is different. This speech I gave today, you will not hear this speech again. This speech is done for this marketplace. When I do family law, the speech is done for family law. So I think it's the innovation change. Yes, there's an underlying story and there's a connection, but I think it's the innovation to change. Do not change your authenticity or what you're trying to do, but be innovative.
Gosh, I would say for me it's about passion. And everybody, you know, the beauty, I think, of a room that's diverse is that we all bring a unique set of experiences and interests and stories, and that we stumble into what is, for some reason, set of reasons, incredibly, feels incredibly powerful. It's just like you were saying with connection, man. There's a story there, right? And usually the things that resonate deepest with us come out of our own personal stories. So connecting with that intrinsic love of whatever it is that you're talking about, whatever your message is, is for me the fuel that not only brings out authenticity, but it gives you the passion and fire to dig deep enough into your topic to become an expert on it, right? Or to actually create the value that you're hoping to bring to your audience.
So I think I'm probably going to be a little bit of a blend of the gentlemen up here. I think that for me, how would I rank kind of presentation skills or what's most important? I'd say my measuring stick is always results. So if you measure the results of hearts changed, then great, let's set that goal. I personally measure how good was that presentation based off of how many leads do I get by the end of every time I speak. Because again, this is how I keep the lights on. So how many business cards did I collect? How many people said, that was great, I want you to speak at this next organization? The best marketing material I have ever owned is me on the platform. Some people think that applause and a standing ovation is the measure of a success. I humbly disagree, because I know a lot of people that get standing ovations and applause and then they can't pay rent. So for me, I think it starts there. What is your goal? Set the goal, be clear with the goal, and shoot for that goal. Every one of your presentations should have that. Then I think in there has to be the passion, definitely has to be the storytelling. I think it's always that blend between storytelling and information, because your audience needs to transform in some way by the end of it. I think that Manny is correct in that connection. I think I might insert the word charisma for connection. Can trump technique any day of the week. But there's certain techniques, like I think Toastmasters is a great place for specific purposes, but there's actually professional speaking techniques that get overlooked because people are worried about the ums and the ahs and the where do I stand and all that stuff. There's so much more to it than that. So, yeah.
So I like this. So basically, from what I'm gathering with what I'm hearing from you, is that there's the way that you're connecting with the audience, and the way that you're connecting with the audience is paramount to a successful presentation. Whether it's charisma, whether it's specific innovation, whether it's passion, you've got to come from a place, it would seem, based on what I'm hearing, that is individual to you and individual for your desire of what the result is you'd like out of the audience. Close? Okay. I want to dive into something that actually is maybe a little bit more controversial, specific to the speaking realm.
Here we go.
And that is the actual business of speaking.
Yeah.
The behind the scenes stuff. We have 4 individuals up here on the dais that have been asked to come here, and they are all in the business of speaking. And so what would you say is the most important aspect of yourself as a business? You are a speaker, but you are a business as well. So when you are being presented to, or presenting yourself to a potential venue or event to present, what's the first step forward? How do you handle the finances of it? Is there outline to me the things that are important to you guys specific to that when it comes to the business of speaking.
Cool. So I'm actually going to share the conversation we had at lunch. So there's different avenues of how to get paid as a speaker, right? You can earn a check for being on stage. You can sell something at the back of the room, but be speaking for free, which, FYI, it's never for free, it's for fee waived. And then
describe what that means for fee waived. So I'm assuming that a lot of novices in here, so they don't know what that means.
Sure. So I do fee waived events. I do about 5 to maybe 10 a year. I limit myself so that way not every venue is like, oh, we can get this organization paid Cherie $7K, but then this first organization got her for free. How does that happen? So I set that ground rule, but it's never for free. I am waiving my fee for this particular venue, and in the contract it says normally it's $7K for X, Y, and Z, or whatever it may be. That fee is currently waived. So you never do it for free, you do it for fee waived. So there's different avenues. I'll speak specifically to like the getting paid by corporate, getting a check for being on stage, because I think you guys come from a lot of different backgrounds as well. And so with that, you have to realize for those engagements, you have 3 customers for every speech. You have to sell to the meeting planner that you are phenomenal on stage, that you're a sure deal, that the meeting planner will not look like an idiot for hiring you, that they will not be fired by the end of your presentation. So you have to sell them that you're reliable. You also have to sell the executive who is looking over your materials, who may not even be on the phone with you, but has to be sold that by the end of her speaking, my organization will have some sort of change, some sort of transformation that will help my organization, whether it's culture, productivity, leadership, sales, health, wellness, whatever it is. Yeah, exactly. And then your third customer is the audience. So you still have to deliver to them, you have to be able to connect, you have to tell stories, they have to have the information, feel like there's a next action step. So in one sense, that's a business side of speaking. I will say, just because I thought of you guys before coming down here, if you go to influencespeechbonus.com, I'll send you guys all of my speaker templates for contracts and some negotiation deals, because I know we certainly won't have enough time. I have to leave tonight, so I just want to make sure you have that. So it's at influencespeechbonus.com, and I'll share that for you.
Yeah. Do we want to go every time, or do we want to just?
No, it's dynamic. You don't really have something to say. You're not required to.
Yeah. Let me. Sure. I'll pass it along. Sure. Yeah.
And if you guys have questions as a result of these answers,
Yeah,
please
that's right.
talk about it right here.
So this thing goes here? Okay. So there are a lot of ways to make money from speaking. I love what you said, especially the verbiage shift, which is a mindset shift, right? It totally is, yeah. A free speaker doesn't have much value in the marketplace, but a speaker who's willing to waive their $7,000 fee has value in the marketplace.
That's $7,000 fee.
Yeah.
I own that shit.
I love
Like
it.
it's we're not coughing over it.
Yeah, no, I love it. So what I focus on more is this kind of a format, right? How do you fill a room full of people who are interested, potentially, in what it is that you do, offer, sell, the transformation you provide? And so that looks more like, knowing the marketing approaches and the social media approaches and the multiple approaches to getting people first qualified, second interested, and third to come out and show up. And that's actually, it goes from very, very simple for small groups particularly to very, very complicated, This is the biggest one I've ever tried, but putting 20 people in a meetup group, for instance, is really pretty easy. And it's funny because when I tell people that, start a meetup group. Start a meetup group, and when people join, talk to them. Reach out, connect, make them know you're real, and watch. And the first meetup group I ever did, I think it had 22 people in it.
I assume then the goal is that then you're turning those people from the meetup group into some sort of clients or selling to, like Laurel was describing that funnel system.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to make sure that there's always that goal or intention for the business in the speech.
So
I love that.
It would look two ways once you've got that. Once you've got a little bit of a comfort level with putting yourself out there enough to try to fill a room, there's the attraction-based approach, which is they just come up to you because they like what you did so much, and it hits home so much for you. And then there's the pitch approach, right? And both are totally rocking, totally awesome ways to do it.
And both of those have their own place as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Very few people are sort of like, very few people will be,
Just right here.
so like this. Very few people will be sort of the right kind of person for all the techniques and all the approaches. Just as I specialize in speakers who feel like they have a mission, they have an impact to make, they want to, as I like to say, dent the universe, right? It's like transformational is my jam. So pick and choose what you like, but just know that you can establish yourself as a keynote speaker, and it's great money. There's a lot of sort of noise in the space about, you need to be selling from the stage. You don't necessarily need to be doing that.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't sell them.
Yeah, exactly. And you can have a great time, meet people, travel, and make impact, deliver a message without doing it. Yes, sir.
How many of you guys have media sheets or publicity kits that you send out to promote yourselves? You do all you guys, I assume? List your speaking.
Yeah, I don't send a media kit, even though maybe it could be classified that way. I have a speaker's kit. So if you go to my website and it says, speaker speeches tab, you can download the speaker kit, and inside it's basically a picture, a bio, some logos of me in the media, some things I've been featured in, and then the program breakdown. So Cherie's 3 most popular programs: title, description, bullet points. Corporate loves bullet points. Your audience will take away A, B, C, D, and then a next action step, which is, book Cherie, call here. So, yeah.
Even if you're new to the space and you don't have one of those, I would recommend at least going through the exercise of creating something that's like a one-page kit, because it's going to, if anything, it's been my experience, my personal experience with this. When I was in the podcast game, I would have opportunities to come up and I would be asked for that, and I had yet to create one. and the creative process of saying, well, okay, what do I bring? Is very telling for an individual, and especially as a speaker, because it allows you to formulate, this is how I'm presenting myself in a very direct, short form format that allows people to see your value.
Yeah, the reason I ask is, I make them for clients, but for media appearances, for speaking, it's a little bit different. So I'm kind of curious like what you guys have on yours, because you're clearly experienced.
Well, it's a different colored apple on the same tree. It's very similar as far as media versus speaking. So, Gordon, you were going to say something.
Every time someone asks you for something, every time you're going out there, you're giving your impression. So I don't like it the same. I don't have the same bio. I've got, I think, about 20 different bios. But I haven't created 20 different ones to use. Every time I do one, family law, I've got a different bio. Are they going to talk about me for 3 minutes on stage, or are they just going to send around bio? What do I want to say? Who do I want to say? When I go out in business, the visible guy is my business. I've got 5 or 6 different channels: speaking, coaching, facilitating, blah, 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 right? Under speaking, there are, again, subsectors. It depends on whether I'm targeting a particular company, a particular organisation, whether I'm targeting a particular industry. I'm basically doing what I'm coaching clients to do. So you've got to believe what you do. You've got to demonstrate what you do actually works in order to be able to get the money to coach what you do. But you get found out very quickly. So if I'm going out there saying I'm networking, right, I'm networking with your purpose, it'd be a bit silly for me to be sat at home waiting for the phone to ring. So if I decided I want to target the young market, I built my nodes, I built the people who influence my customers out there. So I'm going out and pitching. But what's really important for me when other people are pitching for me is I understand and we know what they're saying about me. Very rarely do I apply to pitch. Very rarely is I've given them a twist, or I've got them interested in something, or someone's given them interest in me, and then it's about finding out what they say. So when I get a phone call and say, hey Gordon, I'd like to present, that's really good. Can you just ask me how you found out about me? I want to know if the $30,000 a year on social media spending is actually working. Well, actually, someone saw you present at another event. Okay, what was that event? Why? Well, what did I charge? I want to make sure that we know, right? Don't want to undercut it, want to see if we can get more. What was it that they said about me? So what was it that got me? So I'm actually drilling in. That's exactly what I'm doing with Network with Purpose, where I'm saying, why are you offering this service to a client? How do you know they want it? Why do they want it? What's the benefits? Blah, 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 blah. So I'm giving myself my 300 point, 3,000 point analysis when I'm doing the pitching.
So the next question I have is, what off-stage skill set would you say is the most important to develop before you even step there? Now, I know we've talked about passion and charisma and that, but more specifically, not so much just that. What off-stage skill set is the most important to develop before you even step on stages?
To sell the speech or before you step on stage?
You choose how you want.
Okay. To sell the speech, it's all about your audience member. So not everybody is as fortunate enough to be in a position where the phone is instantly ringing. So for that outreach, reaching out to organizations that you feel you're a good fit for, that email to, if you're going to associations to speak for free at a lunch and learn, fee waived, is reach out to the VP of programs, VP of education, the vice president, the president. Those are your point of contacts to email. And then you say, hey, love your organization, love what you're doing. I have a presentation that I think your audience will love. That's the key phrase. Your audience will love this. Here's why. They will get X, they will get Y, they will get Z. If this feels of interest, then would love to chat. And attach your one sheet, which in the industry, that's actually what it's called. It's one sheet, because back in the day when people actually printed stuff, we're cheap, and we just wanted to print one sheet. And so to book that speech, being able to be so succinct with, this is what they will get. And unless you can be super clear about that, then it's not compelling enough for you to get that speech in the first place, for them to book you. So I'd say concise, clarity, compelling is hands down your starting spot.
So I think it's important to think about the local stage. You're a speaker, right? Do not, unless you've got a personal restriction, your stage is the globe. And I think what's really important, we've come from Australia, there's people from Canada here, is understand how each country works. What taught there works in America. That type of approach may not always work for Australian companies. For Australian companies, maybe we want to get to know you first. Right? We want to see who you are rather than go hard sell. In America, if I did the touchy stuff, it's probably not going to work. It's probably going to be that hard sell. I'm a speaker. I'm going to do blah blah blah. So it's understanding the audience and understanding the cultural nuances for it. But it's also, I think, what I look at is if I'm targeting organisations or companies, see what type of speakers they've had beforehand. Right? And there's a really good thing in Google. You know, Manny's Conference 2007 review. Someone's posting something. Okay. And you'll get what people said. They like the speaker because of this, and you get a theme for what's happening going through it. So Google's a brilliant tool. You can look like an absolute expert, right? Because you use Google.
I'm going to take it in a little bit different direction. The same question, but in a certain bit. Do you have something?
No. You do you, man. Hold this microphone.
You know, for me, and this is of course my lens that I'm always thinking about is about the psychological experience of speaking, right? And our brains are good at some things and really bad at other things. And one of the things that our brain often does right before we jump on stage is hijack us, right? With an emotional surge of anxiety, quite literally. So what you need when you speak is to be fully present and have all your cognitive capacity online. And when you experience that surge of anxiety, the first thing to go offline is your prefrontal cortex, the thinker, this part of your brain right here. Problem, right? So a couple things you can do about that. One, and I know Manny talks about this in his master classes, this is research from Amy Cuddy at Harvard Business School, is to power pose. Anybody heard of power posing? So, let's just do it. Everybody stand up a little bit. So, power posing is this idea that you open up your body for about 2 minutes before some high stakes thing like a talk. Okay? So everybody put their hands on their hips, like Wonder Woman, right? And spread your legs just a little bit, right? Kind of open your chest, open your shoulders a little bit. Hey, you know, pick your
No, don't do that like Wonder Woman.
superhero of choice, whatever kind of strikes your fancy. Okay, so and just take some deep breaths, right? And just hold that for 2 minutes. Okay, so that's one power pose. You can even make it bigger if you want. Actually, open up your arms. Okay, like a yes. One of the things Amy Cuddy says in her book Presence, which I highly recommend for anybody who's interested in this stuff, is the starfish pose, right? Just like expand your body. And what you're telling, go ahead and sit down. What you're telling your brain when you do this is you're communicating to your brain via it's called the vagus nerve, okay? 80% of the communication in the vagus nerve goes from the body to the brain. 20% goes from the brain to the body. So in other words, you can control what your brain is doing by changing your body. You know this, you've heard this, it sounds like from Manny.
He's right.
He's right, yeah. And so oftentimes it's really hard to control our anxiety with our thoughts. Stop thinking that, calm down. Don't ever tell yourself to calm down, it's not going to work. Okay? Don't tell your kids that either, by the way. What do we say to kids? Calm down, right? Calm down. No, take some deep breaths. Take some deep breaths. Doesn't take much, right? Just takes 3 to 5 deep breaths, or power posing, or doing something physically with your body. Instantly it will bring that anxiety down.
So the question then is, what's the offstage game, right?
Well, it was more specifically, what is an offstage skill set?
Skill set. Okay.
Helps you on stage.
So, if we're talking about presentation skills on stage, I absolutely swear by the power poses. I teach it like, from a martial arts perspective, right? They talk about turning your light on in my, the kind of ice that Mark didn't know what the hell I was talking about. But it's about just lifting your just a little bit, like it's such an imperceptible. Here we are, power pose, and it's good, everything's cool. Now you go, just that little bit. What happens is that triggers what I keep it more folksy, you know, the terminology. I say that triggers a virtuous cycle, which then what we have, all of us, is something called mirror neurons. Mirror neurons are like your best friend that you probably didn't know about. They are so cool. You can hear me? Can you hear me? I get caught up talking about this stuff. So mirror neurons are, in a simple way, they're empathy receptors is what they are. They allow us to feel what we see people feeling. They're probably one of the main reasons for our success as a species. They're the reason that mothers don't leave children on the curb when the children are misbehaving. I mean, it's huge. It's connection. Mirror neurons are essentially connection. And so the way I teach it is, if you understand that you can hold your physical self in a certain way to create this virtuous cycle, or dosing yourself, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, also norepinephrine, but it doesn't work in my acronym, dosing ourselves. Anyway, you can start this virtuous cycle. And the cool thing about that is you are now projecting it because of mirror neurons, right? People sitting in an audience, I think you guys would agree, you're somewhere from like idling and neutral to wanting us to succeed up here, right? To validate the fact that you're sitting on your asses on uncomfortable chairs, right? You don't want us to come out here and bum. You want us to be good so that you can go, oh yeah, okay, cool. I went to that event and they were good. It's really simple. And so I call it reaching in and flipping the happy switch. Set yourself through your physicality so that you're projecting what you want the audience to feel. Walk out with confidence. Walk out full of the dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, and the audience will feel it. If you can do that, you also do what I call starting at 100 out of 100 points, and all you have to do then is not screw up. Right? Whereas, if you don't connect with the audience before you start speaking, you have to earn your way up to that 100 points. So,
well, just to add to what you're saying, my car mates on the drive down here, we had an interesting discussion about confidence and certainty as a currency. That the more certainty that you project, it comes with a certain amount of unsolicited attention that is positive up to a certain point. So as you discuss confidence, as you discuss, organization and clarity in your communication, as you discuss the physicality of your body and understanding that connection there, hopefully if you guys listen to this, you can see that there's a lot of little things that can add up, that can already have you winning the game before you step on the stage, if you handle them responsibly in an organized fashion, as in taking them serious as they should be taken. So before we conclude, I wanted to offer any other questions we have in the audience. AJ.
So Manny, you talked about connecting.
yes, sir.
How can you tell if you're connected? It's a multi-part question. And if you're not connecting, how can you say?
How can you bring it back?
How can you bring it back?
Okay.
And I guess to clarify the first part of the question, because we are in a captive audience, it's not like we can be rude or whatever. So if people aren't. No, but I'm just serious. So if people aren't connecting, it's not like they won't be rude to you, but they'll still pay attention. Right? So how do you know from the stage whether or not you're really connecting or if they're just there on the obligation?
So that's a great question, and you feel it. And I mean, that to me, I don't want to be esoteric, and I don't want to sound like I'm not answering the question in a practical, tangible way, but all of us can vouch for that. When you come out and you've done it, man, you fucking feel it. And it feels good. So, I mean, it's the difference almost between a light switch being on and off, right? That's what I did. That's why I did what I did at the beginning of my story. I came out once, I wasn't satisfied with you guys, I told you my expectation, right? Then I came out again, I got what I wanted, then I did the whole thing to change our state. All of that was to make sure, like hitting a nail after it's already flush with the wood, make sure that we were connected, right? It was a strategy to make sure we're totally connected.
Can I take a swing at that one? 100% agree. I just recently, because of that question, I was thinking back to my very first presentation. It was to financial advisors, so right up my alley. And I was struggling finding that connection because I was green, and I think also with some audiences, depending on who you're speaking to, they go to that lunch and learn once a month prepared for boredom. That's just what they've been wired to experience. And so I think as a speaker, you have to realize not everything is on your shoulders, that, sometimes that's just what they're prepared for. So then you have to, exactly what Manny said, leverage the mirror neurons. You have to consistently be what you want to see from your audience, always. So happy about that. So you always have to be what you want to see. I have a pet peeve with speakers who shame their audience, or like, come on guys. Like, I'm just like, bro, you gotta bring it, and then I'll follow. You're up on stage, you lead, I follow. That's how this works. So I know that it's not connecting if I'm not seeing heads nod, if I'm not seeing smiles, if I'm seeing people leaning back and crossing their arms. Ways that I've changed up is I have to just change up my dynamic. Either I have to be bigger, bolder, bubblier, whatever it is. I've gone into the audience and I'll even touch shoulders of people. I'll actually switch things up, go Q&A, whatever that is. But also at the same time, I don't cry tears at night for those that it didn't connect with, because it's not my job to connect with everybody. It's not shame on me if I allow that negative energy to make me flop, to then ruin it for those who have the positive energy. So at some point you have to build in those filters against those negative Nellies, and then focus in on the people who are getting it and speak to them, pour your heart out to them.
I just want to add to that. So in Australia, we've got quite a lot of regulation across our industries. Sometimes you get audiences who are just going to get what's classed as their professional development points. They really don't care what the speaker's about. They know they're there for 2 hours, they're going to get 2 points. That's all they need to get the tick on the box, and now they're qualified and they can carry on practicing for a year. That's really hard. But the thing about when you stand up, before you actually get there, why you're being engaged, I ask the questions: who's the audience? What do you want the audience to say? Why are they coming along? The question I always ask people who ask me to present is, in 6 months' time, what do you want the audience to say about what I talked about? I want people to remember me in 6 months' time. Why? Because it helps me getting gigs. That's one. But why? That's the type of message I leave. It's about preparation, and what you said. You can't connect with everyone in this room. If you think you're going to come in this room and you're going to get a gig, a deal of every single one in this room, I think the numbers is about 10% you connect to in the room. Right? Live with it. Life's too short to worry. Right? You come up, you prepare, you do the best, and you get off stage. Right? Prepare yourself.
I'm just going to add one thing to be what you want to see. And again, these are just tricks in your kind of having your grab bag for when that anxiety does come up. I did this morning. I was feeling a little bit anxious as we were driving here. And I pulled out my iPhone to look at videos of my 4-year-old. Because what does that do? It just it literally changes the neurochemicals in my brain. And this is Barbara Fredrickson at UNC, her research on wonderful book called Positivity, for those who are interested. But she's the world's foremost researcher on positive emotions. What positive emotions do is they set it's like a reset button. So you have this negative, anxious state. If you can get yourself into a positive state by a trigger, like looking at videos of someone you love or whatever that is for you, then suddenly it resets your neurochemistry.
Did we get JJ? Okay, good.
Okay, well that's basically it. I would like to just offer my thanks to panel members here for sharing their insight and their expertise here. For those of you that are here in the room, I would encourage you reaching out to each one of them and learning more. The truth of the matter